Hello, welcome back. Um, Today's a big day. Today's the day we start officially writing, and this is the first day of the rest of the year because that is pretty much all that I think is going to be happening for me on my end for the next 6+ months of 2026. Um, if you don't know who I am, my name is Colton Woods. I'm the creator of Strange Trails, a full cast audio drama in the style of Serial. The first season is available for free on any podcast platform if you want to listen to it. It follows two LA natives as they travel to a rural town in West Virginia to investigate folklore about a serial killer there known as the Shadow Man. This channel is going to be me working toward making season 2 of the show, but also writing future seasons and the novelizations of each of those seasons because as new seasons come out, I want to be releasing a book version of it because I think the story holds up in both mediums. So what we're doing today, what we're starting today, is a special investigation that is going to actually be inserted in between seasons 1 and 2. And I spent a video a couple weeks ago planning it all out in the middle of me trying to plan out season 6 of the show. But now that season 6 is completed and I have figured out all the titles for the episodes and stuff, I'm ready to start writing. So we're going to dive into writing part 1 of the special investigation. And oh boy, it's going to get wild. But let's do it. I feel so out of practice right now because everything that I've been doing since literally November of last year was just, I started out, I was writing the novelization of season 4, which is basically just looking at the scripts for the season and then writing it as prose. And then there was editing that. And then there was planning out season 6 and then planning out the special investigation. And so now this is the first time that I'm going to actually have to sit down and write actual new content for Strange Trails in months and months. So it feels like I got it warmed up again or something, but I hope that I still have it in me. So I do. I know I do. Anyway, let's go. Let's get those words out. Okay, so it's a couple hours later. I currently am on page 5. Um, that went. It started off kind of. It started off kind of shaky when I was first in there. The clip that you just saw was me starting to write the intro piece, like basically the part where Finn is doing a little studio segment, reading off his like script as like the creepy music plays while it kind of like sets the scene, sets the tone for the special and stuff. And and those always are kind of the most difficult things because you do really need to kind of word things in a specific way to be intriguing. It's like the thing that's trying to pull the listener in so that they will stick around long enough to actually, listen to the actual story. So it's doing a lot of heavy lifting, and it was one of the things that I was most nervous about going into this. The part that you actually saw was a very rough version of it. When I ended the clip, I went back and I was rereading it and stuff. The beginning I thought was fine. The end I thought was fine. The middle bit was kind of weird. It was like talking about something here, which flowed into this next piece, but then the third piece like went back to something that was mentioned somewhere in the middle of it was kind of a mess. So I had to like, it's kind of funny because I was just saying in the last video, literally like, oh, I don't really do editing all that much where I'm like fully rewriting things. This was like a rewrite. Like I had to go in and be like, I do not like the way that this is flowing right now. I do want all of this information there, but it needs to be like done in a different order and in a way that actually just kind of like we get to each thing and we're not like bouncing back and forth on ideas and stuff. So I did do that. I went back. I spent a lot of time trying to get that. Now I look at it and I've read it out loud a couple of times. It's good. It literally makes me be like, okay, and then what? Like it's exciting for me to listen to myself reading out this thing and to want to know where the story goes, which is great because guess what? I do know where the story goes, and I get to decide where the story goes, even if I don't know where it goes. So that's awesome that I'm already sort of feeling this level of attachment and excitement to something that is like, I'm literally, again, page 5. I'm on page 5. So that's cool. Everything that I've written up to this point is Finn's studio segment. And after this, I'm going to be jumping into like the actual scenes where there's going to be dialogue and back and forth and character conversations and things are going to be happening like action wise and whatever. And I think that will write a lot faster than the studio segments. Like the studio segments always take me the longest to do because there's just so much explaining that has to be done, and it has to be done in kind of an engaging way. Like you can't just, you can't just dump history on people and expect them to like stick around for it. Like it has to be worded in a way that is going to keep them, I mean, not to reuse the word, but engaged. Like they have to feel like there is a reason that they're sticking around with it. And so it does take a lot of consideration to keep that interesting and something that people will be okay with listening to without having it be confusing for people when if I don't say enough stuff, then I have to somehow figure out how to do it because it's not a book. I can't visually show anything, so the characters either have to describe what happens or we need to have these studio segments where the person doing the narration kind of steps in and is like, hey, this is what we saw, this is what we were experiencing, that type of thing, because you're just not always going to get that in an audio format. It's just different. And so like it does take a lot of consideration. It really does. Like you do have to think things through. And but that's part of the fun of doing a podcast. So yeah, I'm feeling good about this. I do need to call my friend in a little bit, so I'm going to pause on writing here. I might come back to it later tonight. I don't know for sure. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder season 2 dropped on Netflix randomly, and I was not expecting that, and I have to watch it. I'm sorry, I have to watch it. This is like, that was hands down my absolute favorite trilogy I think I've probably ever read. We're going down a tangent right now, but oh my God, I loved that series. Like the only reason I picked it up in the first place was because it was, weirdly enough, about a girl who starts a podcast investigating like a murder that happened in her town. And it just sounded so similar to basically what happens with Strange Trails, not like a one-to-one comparison, but like about a podcast. So I went in just being like interested in the premise of it, and I fell in love with it. I think as a character, Pip is one of my favorite characters of all time because, and I don't want to like spoil things for people, but I just have to say, like at the end, there's always these moments that authors will put their main characters in where it's like, oh, I could do this bad thing to this bad person who would deserve it, but I won't because otherwise then I'm just as bad as them. And I've always fucking hated that. I do not agree with that at all. And I find it so frustrating that like somebody who does something horrible can just basically get off scot-free because the hero can't be morally bad, so they won't do anything bad to that person. And the justice system is what we're going to use. But we all know that it doesn't actually work that way. So I just never resonated with those types of stories. And what I love about A Girl's Guide to Murder, specifically book 3, is that it does not do that shit. And I was afraid that it was going to. As I was reading, I was like, okay, we're going to build up to the thing. It was basically how I felt with season 6 when I was planning out season 6 of the show, where it's like, we're going to build up to the thing and then we're going to back away from it and everything's going to go back to normal. And I am glad for myself with season 6 and also for Holly Jackson with Good Girls Guide to Murder that Pip did not back away from it. She just fucking did the thing. And I think that's fucking awesome. So that is why that series is one of my favorites of all time, and I have to watch season 2. So I don't know if I will get back to writing today because of that. That's like, it's like my exception to working on the podcast is that series. I love that series so much. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I don't know if I'll be writing here all the time. I do have this weekend off, so maybe I'll go up to UB a little bit. I don't know, but we'll see where we land. And I'm hoping I can get a lot of writing done this weekend because I have the next 2 days off after today to actually work on this part 1 of the special. And I'm hoping I can get at least halfway through it by the end of the weekend. Anyway, I'll see you when I make another clip. Okay. Hi. So we jumped ahead a little bit. It is now Thursday, June 18th, and I last night officially finished part 1 of the Strange Trails special investigation. It came together a lot quicker than I expected it to. I basically just wrote every single day. I did a scene a day, which is normally the goal. I just wasn't sure I was going to actually be able to make that happen, but I made it happen. So part 1 is done. It's 66 pages long, which is great because I was kind of hoping with this special investigation, it being 2 parts, I was like, I'm open to it being either like 2 30-page episodes, so it would kind of come together to be a full hour-long investigation, like that would be fine with me, or it could be really cool if each part was about an hour long. And I mean, I don't know how long part 2 is going to end up being, but part 1 being about an hour is great. I think that means that there's going to be enough content there, realistically, to kind of hold people over until season 2, basically. I just don't want it to feel like it's something that I like half-assed and like threw out there just to sort of put something in the world and then it's not really carrying its weight, it's not like justifying its existence, if it feels like small, I guess, it is small scale compared to like a full season of the show, but I think that the stuff that the ripple effects from it are going to be important, and I think that there being enough of it, for somebody to be able to listen to and like actually enjoy for like an extended period of time, which in this case would hopefully be around 2 hours total. I feel like that's like a movie length amount of stuff to give out, and so to me that's good. I'm feeling good about it, and I really like the way that it came together. Some of these character things, it's so interesting to see how stuff goes from just like a line of like, they talk about this, and that's all I have to go off when I'm doing this, is like I just go through my notes, and it's just very like, it's very plain, and it's so interesting because if somebody else were to read these notes, there's no way that they would be writing the story the way that I'm writing the story. They would get some different scenes out of these notes. Like it just would play out so differently, and the order that things happen in and how the characters interact with each other, it would just all be so different if somebody else, even if somebody were to like take my notes exactly, like if I died, right, and somebody was looking through my notes, it's not going to happen. It's not going to get made. It's not going to get made the way that I have it in my head, which is kind of, it's reassuring because it does make me feel like, yeah, only I can tell this story the way that it's being told. Somebody else would tell it differently, and maybe it would also be a good version of that story, but it would just be different, and it would not gel in the same way with the rest of the seasons. Like somehow I'm just able to hold enough. I can't hold everything, but I can hold enough of the overall story in my head to know what I need to say here so that it will pay off seasons down the road and stuff. And that's really cool. So that's something that has been really exciting to me. So today I'm going to start part 2. My hope, since we still have about a week and a half-ish left. There's about a week and a half left of June right now. I feel fairly confident that as long as I do just continue writing basically every day as much as I can, I will be able to start season 6 before my July 1st, like actual technical start date of the season. If I can start earlier, then that's great. Even if I start on July 1st, that's also still fine. That's technically still on schedule. I just don't want the special investigation to bump season 6 and throw off the schedule that I had in mind for that, because that's going to be a lot to try to deal with if that's how it plays out. Playing catch up with that, 15 episodes is going to be killer. So I'm hoping I can get part 2 done, hopefully by like maybe around this time next week, and then maybe even next weekend potentially start season 6. Can't be sure about that right now because it depends on what my schedule looks like and how quickly the scenes come together as I'm writing them, but that's the hope. So yeah, I'm going to spend some time starting out part 2 of the Strange Trails special investigation. All right, So it's 9 p.m. now. I spent a few hours talking to my friend earlier today, but overall, the writing has been pretty consistent throughout the day. Currently, I'm halfway down page 17, and that's awesome. I mean, the first 2 pages of the script are literally just like previously on type stuff, like cutbacks to information that you'll need for the episode. But even cutting those 2 pages out, that's still like 15 pages that I wrote today, which is excellent. And the goal each day is 10 pages, which is basically the length that I want each scene to be. So I kind of blew past that, and I did basically do a scene and a half. So I'm feeling like I'm ahead of the track that I was hoping to be on. So I'm feeling confident about that. I'm feeling really good about it. I feel like the words are just sort of flowing out of me, and I don't want to I guess speak too soon because I do have 17 episodes to write this year. But for being in episode 2, I do feel like generally the earlier episodes are the harder episodes to write. Maybe it's different because this is a special, and so like everything is very like contained inside the thing. But I know that when I'm writing a regular season, usually the first like probably 2 to 3 episodes are actually probably the most difficult because it's like all set up. Not that that's boring or bad or whatever, but it's like you have to be very careful about how you word things and what information you're giving away and what you're kind of hinting at and stuff. There's a lot of intricacies that you need to really pay attention to. And then it starts to get difficult in the middle once you get to like 5 to like 8. Those episodes very challenging because it's just like I have been doing this for weeks at this point, and I still have weeks left to go. And no matter if I really push myself and try to finish this episode really quickly, I still have all these, like I'm still not anywhere close to the end, you know. And then you get to like the finale, and right before the finale, episodes 9 and 10, and those episodes, those flow, those really flow, because then it starts to, you can see the ending, you got the exciting part, all the things are starting to tie together, things that you laid the groundwork for beforehand, you get to pull from that. It's great. So I don't know if me doing this as a special means that I'm kind of like in the finale right now, and maybe that's why it's like flowing so much better. But for being episode 2 out of 17 for the year, I am feeling good about it overall. So I think that's probably where I'll leave it for right now. But I just, this is going better than I thought it was going to. I don't know if I'll get time to like read this anytime soon because I'm basically gonna just keep writing this until it gets completed and then jump right into season 6. So I don't know if I'll have a moment to step back and read both parts of the special, but until after season 6 is done. But I don't know. I feel like it's pretty good so far based on like the little bits that I've been rereading. Like the way that I feel like I write really slow. I mean, 15 pages a day would beg to differ, but I do feel like I write pretty slow because I sit and I have to like consider each thing. Like I can't just do like flow state writing very often. Generally, it's like I can write like a little interaction, 3 lines back and forth, and then I got to sit and think about like, okay, so where does it go from here? And then I get like 4 lines, and then I get 2 lines, and it's just a lot of pausing and stuff. And in that time, I'm rereading the conversation up to that point, and just trying to check it, which is why I feel like I don't have too many typos usually because I'm literally rereading the things that I just wrote over and over and over and over throughout the day that I'm writing that scene, because I keep getting, the second I get to the end of it, I'm like, nope, I got to go back, reread it, and see where I can like what my mind feels like the momentum of the scene is gonna where it's gonna take me, you know. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of like what it is. I have to sort of just, it feels like brute force sometimes, just like, okay, just keep reading, and what do you imagine what would come next? And sometimes you get an idea, and that's how you continue the scene when you get like really stuck on it. Or that's what works for me. So yeah, I'm going to pause here, and I'll see you when I make another clip, hopefully before I complete episode 2. Hopefully the next clip is not me just being like, oops, I forgot to record something. Episode 2 is done. So I'll see you when I see you, though. All right, it's a new day. More specifically, it is June 25th, and I am hopefully going to finish writing the specials today. I have basically 1 scene left. It's kind of long, and it's a few different things all that sort of like flow into each other, so it's kind of hard to say if it's like counts as 1 scene or whatever. In my head, I'm counting it as 1 scene, but there are a lot of pieces that I have to kind of shuffle around to make it work and everything. And then get to that end point. So I'm hoping I can do that today. I have been writing every single day since I started writing, so that's great. And it's been really helpful for staying on track with things, because there have been times that I've come home from work and I've been like, oh my God, I do not feel like writing, or I don't have enough time to finish an entire scene today. So like, what's the point of even writing? But doing even just like a few pages of a scene, first of all, it's never been just a few pages of a scene. Every time I have sat down to write, I've ended up writing at least 8 pages, which is like, that's great for like an episode that's going to be, 50 to 60 pages long. 8 pages is like a solid chunk of it, even if you're doing that in a time frame that feels too short when you sit down. So I've found that, if I just kind of push through and don't let the mentality of like, well, you're not going to get to do all of it today, so why even bother? If you don't let that hold you back, then you can still make progress. And here we are. Like I'm potentially going to finish writing the special today, which would mean then, ideally, if that works out tomorrow, I could start writing season 6. Like I could be there, and that would be before my July 1st start date that I had planned for. So I don't know what the point of that is. Persistence pays off, I guess, is the point. So yeah, I'm gonna just jump right into it. It's kind of early in the day. It's 10:30 in the morning, so I'm going to hopefully get it done kind of early today, and then that way I can relax the rest of the night, or maybe even read it. That would be cool to get to read the story I wrote finally. So maybe I'll do that. It'll depend on how the writing goes. So let's get into it. Oh my God, I did it. I did it. It's hours later. I actually wrote pretty much everything I wanted to write today within about 3 hours, and then I had to pause because I had a call with my friend at 3 o'clock, so I stopped to do that with like 5 lines left, knowing that there was like 5 lines left. And so it's just been like kind of dangling throughout the entire call. I was just like waiting and waiting and waiting so I could get to writing it again. So I just did that, and now part 2 of the special investigation is officially completed. And what's funny is I went into this episode kind of expecting it to be shorter than the first episode, just because there's a lot more like action in it, and when there's action stuff, it tends to like write faster, like like action lines don't really take up as much space as like a conversation would. So I just figured the script itself might end up being a little bit shorter than the first one. The first one is 66 pages long. This one is 70 pages long. It ended up being a little bit longer. And another thing that is kind of on my mind at this point now is I expected these episodes to be around 50, 55 pages, and both of them kind of blew past that, and they're like mid to upper 60s, or straight up 70 pages. And what's concerning about that is these episodes are shorter than what I think the season 6 episodes are going to be. I think every episode of season 6 is very likely to be at least as long as these are, if not potentially longer. So that does, it's going to be great on your end when you get to listen to season 6 and every episode is over an hour long, but God, that's a lot of writing. That's going to be a lot to do. So that might be where I'm at, is we might end up with a really, really, really long season, which I'm down for, because I'm ready for that story. I'm very excited for that story. And by finishing this today, that does mean that I can officially start season 6 tomorrow. And I'm very pumped about that. But in the moment, let's just celebrate this. Like, we did it. We have a special. There's going to be something that I can create and then release before season 2, just to sort of like an amuse-bouche, just to kind of give people a taste of what's to come. It sets up stuff for future storylines, and in and of itself, it is its own fun little adventure, I think. I haven't read it yet. I should probably read through before I make that decision, but I do think that it is a fun adventure based on the story that I was trying to tell. We'll see what I actually told, but currently I'm going to trust that I did a good job. And yeah, so I'm going to end the video here. I will probably read through this special either tonight or tomorrow before I start writing season 6. I don't know for sure when it'll fit in, but I got to do it because I want to know how it came together, and I can make any obvious edits to it, and then I'll jump into season 6 in the next video. So I will see you guys when I make another video, which might be tomorrow. Bye.